Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Everyday Hero Machine Boy coming at you from Image and Skybound Comet. I am Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. And as you see on the screen, I have special guests. I'm hoping I don't brutalize their names. We just did a test of this right before we got started. But I have the amazing Irma Kniivila. And there we go. I already messed it up. And the brilliant Tri Vuong. Thank you both for your time. Irma, I'm so sorry.
No worries. Sometimes I get it wrong myself.
Well, you guys are amazing. It doesn't reflect in the work with me messing it up. Please don't get it twisted. This is an amazing book. I had the immense pleasure to read this amazing graphic novel this morning, and I'm excited to talk about it. You guys just saw the trailer. It's so much fun. It's brilliant, and I can't wait for everybody else to check it out. It's going to drop on September 7th, and then everywhere books are sold on September 13th from Image and Skybound Comet. How did this amazing work come together? I do a lot of conventions. I'm beyond doing films. I'm also a comic book guy. I just started writing comics again. Just dropped a comic at San Diego Comic-Con, and you know, that's where a lot of us creators connect. Where did you two get together to get this germ of an idea started? Whoever wants to go first.
Well, actually, Irma and I used to be studio mates. So we met because we sat like right next to each other. So it's like a very old school sort of way. And once you sit next to each other for like actually several years, you get to know each other, and you know you're supposed to be working. You send yourself chatting throughout most of the days, and so the days were just spent drawing and working our day jobs, but also like talking about, you know, what would be cool, what video games did you play growing up, what cartoons did you watch, and then
also like a lot of really dumb jokes.
So many dumb jokes. Yeah, not enough dumb jokes though. There needs to be more. Yeah. So yeah, and that was that. And then it was just sort of a very organic thing. We never sat down and said, hey, we should make a comic and then pitch it. It was nothing like that. It was just like, I think one day I have an idea for a scene of a robot whose heart, it just sounds ridiculous even when I say it. A robot's heart who's like kickstarted by a karate punch. I didn't have
specifically a karate grandpa.
But from a karate grandpa. And then, but I had no story other than that. And then I just sort of like, hey, you do something with it. And then she did. And it sort of kind of came about in a really organic way.
Yeah, there was like a diner lunch that we were sitting at after he'd sort of tossed that my way. And I was like, yeah, but what if he also went to school?
I love this. I love this. Awesome. Yeah. I have a little bit of the artwork right behind me. Brilliant, amazing, such a cute character. I'm an empath, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but like, this tugged at my heartstrings. Just the first two chapters. What were some? So obviously, I see some of the ingredients of what I read with what you just told me and these initial ideas. Talk to me about frameworking the story into the rest of this novel that we got without giving anything away, because we want everybody to pick it up when it drops on September 7th and where books are sold everywhere on September 13th. Let me go to you, Irma.
Sure. So actually it first started with a short story, which was I think an 8 or a 10-page short story, and then from that we were like kind of expanded out, and it was originally supposed to be single issues. And then it got worked into a graphic novel. So actually the original start of the story was at chapter 3. And then we sort of were like, but it feels like it needs kind of like a prologue, so to speak. So it kind of came together in like a very interesting way. But like going through it again and reading through it, I'm like, oh, actually, like this is pretty coherent.
Somehow, like by accident, but there were times when we were like, what in the world? We're kind of pretty, back then we were pretty new creators and also first-time collaborators. So we at some points we were like, we have no idea what we're doing. And then you sort of have to reverse engineer the solution, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so we had Karate Grandpa already from the initial idea. We had this young robot, boy, if you will, that would become a boy. But then we have this such a tender, again, like I said, I'm an empath, but this relationship, where did we think of the grandma to the grandpa, and then how it would kind of set off the story and kind of give like the guiding light for, this everyday machine boy?
Hmm.
I actually don't remember 100% when grandma, I mean, she was like from the start, like actually one of the most important characters to Machine
Yeah.
Boy. But I don't actually remember the genesis of grandma herself.
Did
I
you
think
base her off of like your own grandmas in a way? Like some of that love that we all have from those Lolas?
I
Maybe
think I
like
did.
the sternness.
Yeah. But also sort of the, at least like my memories of my grandmother's sort of strength and sort of unconditional sort of love. And then also some of it is because you start with the idea that, oh, this grandpa, gives this boy life, but then what, right? Somebody has to raise this boy. And then you start thinking, like, really sort of walking the steps is that you have this, if he was married and there was this grandmother left, she's not just a plot device. She has her own feelings and stuff because she just lost her beloved to this child that now she's raising. So we really had to kind of like walk the path of this woman, this imaginary woman, and she became quite three-dimensional, I think, in our minds.
I love it. I dig it. Yeah, she's such an amazing character. The influence of all this. Yeah, I'm an old 80s guy and just a lot of this and I'm Asian American. There's so much influence and style in this that I really appreciated. And seeing that you both are Asian American as well, I believe. How did that influence this work and coming together? Did you like, hey, we got to pull from this or that? What was that like for you both?
I feel like, so the conversations that we were having in the studio where, we were just kind of talking about like, have you seen this? Have you played this? Whatever. I think accidentally a lot of that kind of like came into play. And I think both of us grew up reading a lot of manga and watching a lot of anime. And then we were just talking about this the other night. 16-bit games, like Super Nintendo era games, were like a huge influence, I think, for both of us. Try.
Yeah, I think that was like we have our separate sort of influences as well and separate voices, but that era, kind of that. So I would say there's a bit of an age gap between me and Irma, but that era of like, I would bring in like, hey, did you see this 80s anime, which she may not have, but then she would tell me, hey, this is 90s anime.
Oh yeah,
she really loved, and then so it was like some similar stuff, but then also I got a chance to discover a lot of things too that she loved. And then that I also grew to love. And then sometimes along the way, we also kind of discover things together. Like, have you seen this thing that just came out? And it's sort of collaborating with another creative person. So you kind of get this really organic, flow.
I dig that. I love that. I love that kind of just the collaboration, the journey of creating, content is also amazing.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I almost lost. I had a question there and I just lost it. So you both are artists and writers and creatives yourself. When I'm looking at this, I didn't quite see the breakdown on who did what. Was this what kind of this was this collaboration? Did somebody lay down the blue lines? Because you're both artists. Like, did blue line breakdowns and trade it up, send it to Tri or Irma? What was this creative process for Everyday Machine Boy?
I feel like much in the way that the order that things were done in was pretty chaotic. The order that things were created was also a little bit chaotic, but largely speaking, the visuals, like the character designs and the line work would be Tri. Colors would be me, and then we've co-created and co-written.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, but there's also one of the things with the art side where Irma really put her stamp on is that for at least half the book, I think she, rather than writing out the script, she sort of laid it out visually. So she gave me quite a complete comic book that I just sort of fleshed out and tweaked somehow. It's a bit of a dangerous way to work because if the story's going well, it's amazing. This is the best. This is the only way comics should ever be made. Yeah. But if we're stuck at a script, it's like, okay, this is this is very time consuming to keep on redrawing entire comics. But
as soon as one panel needs to shift or change, it breaks everything. So you just have to basically redo things from scratch. So we kind of switched over to scripts at some point.
Yeah, but a lot of her pacing is from her sort of visual sense too. So she's Yeah, just want to make sure I pointed that out.
I love that. I love that. As a former artist, well, I still am an artist, but I started off as a comic book artist, and now I'm a writer writing comic books. But I would always, because that art, there's certain angles or certain things you want to come across in that panel. So I would still drop a thumbnail with that script just to get a point across.
Yeah.
Other than the conversation.
Sometimes it's just easier to sort of even see a little sketch to understand what the other person's going for, rather than. I mean, a paragraph is great too, but it's easier. Sometimes visuals are just easier to get a message across.
I love it. So, being first-time collaborators with this, what were some of the biggest lessons that you both learned as collaborators on a project that you would also impart to any other up-and-coming creator that's watching this interview right now?
Oh, do you want to start, Tri?
Sure. I think I have a. I think the one thing we had to learn was that. It's not my voice or her voice. It's sort of this hybrid voice. It's like a creation that only this mixture of the both of us could create. So it's not like who possesses it, or even if who has the best idea. It's like who the two of us together are some weird third creative voice, I guess. And that was when things were really working. When sometimes you can get like kind of territorial about yours, like, no, I think this color should be, blue or something. No, but I think it should be red. And then it becomes kind of arbitrary arguments that don't do anything. But when you're there in the spirit of collaboration for the characters and for the story, then it's just fun and it's a lot easier, I think.
I think for me, there was like, sometimes you would bring up an idea and I kind of had a preconceived notion of what it meant, which obviously wasn't always what you were trying to get across. So I feel like for me personally, like learning, I guess like the communication ability to first fully try to understand what this other person is putting forward before putting my own sort of like preconceived notions onto it, if that makes sense.
It's almost like relationship stuff in a way.
I love it. I love giving tips. I have a lot of creator friends that watch what I do, so I love giving pro tips
Awesome.
from the creators I have on. So thank you both for that. Going back to this amazing book, I didn't want to spoil too much, so I also wanted to give those pro tips. But in Everyday Hero Machine Boy, there's this introduction of this boy band, and I love it as a guy who grew up in the 80s, 90s, and was part of my own little boy band and singer dancer.
Really?
I'm very Asian, very Filipino.
Oh,
So I was participating in all of that.
I'm jealous.
We get the orphan universe. Tell me how those kind of characters came together. Was it for your both individual love for boy bands as well?
I mean, I grew up in the like era of the Backstreet Boys, and like, I was a little girl, so of course I was like, oh my god. But I would say the influence for that comes primarily first from Tri, who was really into a specific K-pop group.
Well, so I don't know. And one of my this is a long time ago before K-pop became like quite as mainstream as it is now. Yeah. But just on YouTube, but just sort of endlessly scrolling whatever YouTube would feed me. And I stumbled on like these concerts of a K-pop band called Big Bang.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I guess by now they're considered maybe old school or something. But back then it was like, because this was like more than 10 years ago and I found them. And I just found their energy like so infectious and so audacious that
Intoxicating.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't even really like it at first. I was like, why are these guys so cocky? Who do they think they are? But I kept on watching videos for years. And I would like keep on feeding things to Irma. And I think I just sent enough videos to her that there was like a tipping point where she kind of got into it too. And then Orphan
Universe. There was like an insane month or two where like literally the only thing I listened to was Big Bang.
Yeah, and I don't know why we thought it would be a great idea to create Orphan Universe, but it just like it seemed right and it seemed funny and we just went with it and it fit into the story.
It's awesome. I love it. I dig it. Who came up with the song lyrics?
The joint
for those scenes.
joint task force.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
there
like
was
really
a-
bounced it back and forth a lot, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay, each of them has their own like archetype. So what would this really buff guy sing about? Probably.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. It took a long time actually.
Yeah.
But slowly we got there to these really cheesy fake lyrics.
Yeah.
Well, they're amazing. I love it. I dig it. I earlier this year we got Turning Red, which was amazing, and we got amazing boy band material in there. And then now with this, I love it. I want more of it, and I'm such a fan. Do you all have any very special moments within the series for this particular graphic novel? Because I'm not going to say it leaves us wanting more, but there's I'm not going to spoil, but I want more of Everyday Hero Machine Boy after this volume. Was there a particular favorite moment in this drop that you had fun doing in this, or a particular scene, character from this volume?
Can I go first?
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like we haven't talked that much about Tony so far, but the Machine Boy sort of gets a pet. It's like a very strange pet, but he does get a pet.
Yes.
And there's a moment where they sort of like synchronize, and there's something about that I find both funny and quite touching.
Yeah. Oof. I don't have a specific moment, but I really enjoyed spending time with these characters. I really felt like they're like family members. And there was also actually, so maybe in a roundabout way, my favorite moment is sort of the last several pages, because we had to tweak the ending for a while, and those last several pages were something we added, like I think more than a year after we had finished the book. So for the fact that I got to draw these extra pages with them in it, it felt like, I didn't know I would get to see you again so soon. It was such a nice, pleasant way to sort of see these characters again.
Definitely. I dig it. Well, I don't want to spoil. That's why I was trying to be careful in walking that fine line. Because I think there's still a lot of story to be told. I want to know more about, the relationships between certain characters and see how they're all going to coexist and everything. And Tony, I was surprised by Tony a little bit.
So were we.
But Irma and Tri, thank you both for your time. Again, everybody, Everyday Hero Machine Boy is dropping everywhere September 7th, and everywhere books are sold on September 13th. So we're getting like the comic or the graphic novel and the digital copy, I think September 7th, right? And then book form will be on September 13th, if I'm not mistaken, from Image and Skybound Comet. I hope everybody picked this up, and I can't wait to see more of this collaboration. You guys, this was a fun ride. It really made me smile and happy and touched my emotions, but I'm an empath. What can I say? I feel everything.
I think.
So this was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see more from you guys. For my audiences checking this out and are wanting to follow and see everything that you guys are going to be dropping in the future, can we throw some socials out there maybe for them to check you out? Try.
Sure. I basically only have an Instagram, which is at Tri Vuong. It's very original, and please give me a follow.
All right. And Irma?
I won't give my Instagram because my last name is really hard to spell. So my website is just irmaillustration.com, and then it just kind of links to everything from there.
No worries. All right. I'm going to have those links in the description below, y'all. So if you can't remember it, if you're driving and listening to this right now, which a lot of my people drive, because I live in the DC area, so they're commuting. Nice. So if you can remember that, there you go. But if not, when you get to a nice, comfortable place and you're safe, click on the links below. There you go. Give them follows, subscribe, show them love. Thank you both immensely for your time, Irma and Tri. I had a lot of fun checking this book out, and I can't wait to see more from what you all will put out into the world. Amazing work on Everyday Hero Machine Boy, coming at you from Image and Skybound, and dropping on September 7th and September 13th in stores. Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Definitely, y'all. There you go. Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.
Bye.